Welcome and thank you for joining our 2018-2019 UCA College Game Day Score Sheet Breakdown. Game day has always been a driving force and a core principle for our company. We added these divisions to highlight the incredible job your team does on the sidelines throughout the year. These divisions are less about difficulty and more about the tradition, the excitement, and execution of what you do on the sideline. The format, we wanted it to be as real as possible as a game day scenario. This will be based on random cues from the announcer. These cues will consist of a fight song, a sideline, and a timeout. We will have 3 score sheets, one for each section of the routine. Each score sheet will be worth 30 points, plus there will be an average category of 10 points. There's going to be 6 scoring judges, 2 for the fight song, 2 for the crowd leading section, and 2 for the timeout. Let's get started with our fight song score sheet. We want your fight song to be your traditional fight song, the one that you guys perform all year long at your games. Your skills should be minimal and practical, and you want to start in your sideline formation. First section, worth a total of 10 points, is your game day material. Was the material practical? Were the skills relevant to the situation? Could they be performed at any time during the game or in any situation of the game? For execution of skills, worth a total of 10 points. Our judges will be looking at the technical aspect of all the practical skills performed. Some of the skills to consider: extension, liberty, and hitches. These skills typically do not take away from the crowd leading ability. Spinning, inversions, and some of your more elite level skills can be done, but you need to make sure they can still lead the crowd effectively. Technique, you want to make sure top person legs are locked out, that they're not balancing. Bases, make sure their arms are locked out, they're not moving around. These skills should be stable with little to no movement. Synchronization is always better unless it's choreographed to match a response. And we need to make sure the cheerleaders are spread out to better maximize the crowd coverage. Motion technique, worth a total of 5 points. Our judges will be looking for placement, sharpness, and overall synchronization throughout the fight song. Were the levels the same in the air or on the ground? Was it sharp? Did everybody do the correct motion at the right time? These are things to watch for when you're watching your fight song. Our next section, visual appeal, worth 5 points. This is where our judges are going to be looking at the transitions that you use between your structures. Were there a variety of formations? Was there a seamless flow from beginning to end? Were there any wow factors? The variety of skills that were used? Were the transitions clean, fast, and effortless? And then the overall choreography and visual appeal. Moving into our college sideline score sheet. First section, game day material, worth a total of 10 points. This is where judges will be looking at: was the material practical? Could the skills be performed at any point during the game? Did the team respond to the proper cue from the announcer? Teams that respond to the wrong cue will be judged accordingly. Were the skills relevant to the game day environment? We talked about this earlier. Stunts to consider would be extension, liberties, hitches. These skills typically do not take away from the crowd leading ability. Your more elite level skills can be done, but once again, you have to make sure they can still lead the crowd effectively. The next section of the score sheet is worth a total of 10 points. This is execution, proper technique, stability, synchronization, and spacing. Remember, all skills should be solid, safe, and 100% performance ready. Judges are going to be looking at proper technique throughout the skills. Top person, did they lift their shoulders? Was their leg locked? Were they balancing? Bases, were they in a position to support the weight? Were they moving? Were their arms locked out? And then the overall synchronization and spacing while the skills were being performed. Want to make sure that teams are always incorporating skills that they can perform well. Don't allow the skill to take away from the ability to lead the crowd. The next section of our score sheet is crowd effectiveness and technique, worth a total of 5 points. This is going to be where our judges are looking at: how well did you lead the crowd with props? Was it easy for us to follow and understand? Were you having fun out there? Did you make us want to continue to watch you? Did you keep us entertained? Was there a natural look about you, or were you just going through the motions? Was the routine executed so well that there was no distractions from technique or sloppy motions and placement throughout the entire routine. Our final section, crowd leading tools, worth a total of 5 points. This is going to be where our judges are looking at how well you used each one of your props. This is not a time for you to try to use every prop that you have in your cheer room. Were your signs used properly? Were they easy to read? Did you show them to the crowd in time for them to yell? Palms, did you use them to indicate specific colors or times to yell? Megaphones, were they used to project voices or were they just placed around the floor? Just because you use every one of the above, full credit will not be given automatically. Judges are going to be looking for quality, not quantity. Moving into our timeout score sheet. Our timeout routine is very similar to a 60-second extended band chant. This was really designed for crowd interaction, and it should involve a crowd response. This is just another way for you to showcase your squad's energy and leadership and connection to the crowd. The first section, worth a total of 10 points, is game day material. A couple of things to ask yourself. Was the material practical? Were the skills relevant to the game day situation? Could I perform this at any time during the game, during any situation of the game? The next section of the score sheet is worth a total of 10 points. This is execution of skills. This is going to be where our judges are looking at the technical aspect of all the practical skills performed. Skills to consider: extension, liberties, hitches. These skills typically do not take away from the crowd leading ability of the skill. Spinning and inverted and some of your more elite level skills can be done. Just make sure they can still lead the crowd effectively. Judges will also be looking at the technique. Top person, was she lifting through her shoulders? Was she balancing? Bases, are their arms locked out? Are they moving around? All skills should be stable with little to no movement. Synchronization is always better unless it is choreographed to match your response. Make sure you're spread out to better maximize the crowd coverage. Next we have crowd leading tools, worth a total of 5 points. This is going to be where we look at how well you used your signs. Were they easy to read? Did you show them to the crowd in time to yell? What about the palms and the megs? Did you use the megs properly to project your voices? Flags, were they distracting? Did you use them to promote crowd response? Colors, mascots, or letters? It's important to note that if you use all of the above, there's no guarantee that you will receive full credit. We want to see quality versus quantity. It's more about how effective were you leading the crowd with your props rather than how many props you actually have in the routine. The next section of the score sheet, visual appeal, worth a total of 5 points. For visual appeal, we are looking for the transitions between the structures, the use of floor and the variety of the formations, the flow from beginning to end. Transition should always be fast, clean, and effortless. We're also looking at wow factors, a variety of skills, and then also the overall choreography and visual appeal. The final section of our score sheet is overall impression, worth a total of 10 points. Our judges are going to be looking at how well you were engaged. What was your visual appeal? What was your energy level? Were you engaged from start to finish? Were you having fun? Or were you just going through the motion? Once again, this is an average score from all 3 score sheets. This does conclude our PowerPoint. Just want to say thank you for joining us. If you have any questions at all, please email college@varsity.com. Once again, thank you so much for all that you do throughout the year, and we look forward to seeing you in Orlando in January.